So, a very warm welcome to each and everyone who's joined us today. Welcome to our guests for the webinar also, Mr. Prateek and Ms. Tusha. We'll be beginning the webinar very shortly. We are just waiting for a few more to join. So just hold back for a few more minutes and we'll be starting the webinar. Thank you so much. Okay, so yes, we'll be starting the webinar now. And again, a very warm evening to each one of you who has joined us today. So, before we begin, I would like to introduce our guest for the day, who will be giving us wonderful insights on the startup ecosystem and particularly fundraising, because they have been in that space and they have been helping startups really connect with investors and seen it all through the deals. So let me first welcome Mr. Prateek. Mr. Prateek leads investor relations at FAFC Ventures, helping portfolio startups raise capital and connect with the right investors. He has helped 10 plus startups raise $2 million plus in funds across equity and debt. He has also previously held key roles at Reddington, India and Make My Trip, bringing 10 plus years of experience in sales, partnerships, and stakeholder management. We are excited to dive into today's sessions with insights he brings to the table. Welcome.
Thanks a lot, Ridhima. Thank you so much for this warm welcome. Looking forward to this session.
Yes, likewise. Let me also welcome Miss Usha. So, Miss Usha has been a founder for a service and product company with successful exit. Other than that, she has also scaled a renewable energy corporation. Other than that, she has worked extensively in the startup ecosystem, helping founders grow, be it with capital, mentorship, or connections. Currently, she is heading founder programs at FAVC, which is a 10-year-old corporation helping startups grow at different stages. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome for the webinar.
Thank you so much, Ridhima. Looking forward to our discussion with all the founders here.
Yes. So let me just quickly tell all of our guests like what we are going to be doing today in the webinar. Firstly, we will have a short Q&A session with ma'am and sir. They will be answering some interesting questions related to fundraising. And after that, the stage would be open to all of you to really take your questions forward and hear what they have to say, get their mentorship, get their insights on your issues or startup problems. You will be able to raise hands and ask your questions directly. And meanwhile, you can just keep posting your questions in the chat. So let us just quickly start with the AMA session. My first question would be that it is a very popular saying that idea अच्छा होना चाहिए. Otherwise, uh, there's no there's no फायदा of building on it, right? If your idea itself is not good, then what will you build on? So ideas are everything. Some people believe that. Do you think ideas can make or break a startup really?
So I'll take this. I ideas are, are one of the most important part of any startups to grow, right? Without the idea, what are you even building, right? But does the idea need to be unique? In some matters, yes. In some matters, no. I really feel that what really makes or breaks the startup is usually the execution. you can have a great idea, but if you don't know how to execute it, what are you going to do with that idea, right? It'll just be an idea. It's as good as a dream, and nothing gets built on it. How do you really put in the effort that this idea comes to fruition? The idea gets executed. There is a market that you sort of create for that idea is what really matters. And for example, ideas don't even need to be unique. Like, if I have to take example of, say, Blue Smart. Now we all know what's happened to Blue Smart, but then when it came into the market, the market was already dominated by two players, right? Uber and Ola. And yet they were able to create a differentiation for themselves, from a point of view that their execution was so strong. They ensured that none everybody got a cab. I mean, when the cabs was supposed to be there, it was there. The cars were clean, the drivers were polite, upfront pricing, no changes later on, and all of that was like really beautifully executed. So I mean, Blue Smart failed or whatever happened for absolutely different reasons, but then their execution was absolutely spot on. I also feel like there are other examples that one can give, with what happens with really good execution. I really feel, say, if we talk about the recent news of, the government banning real money gaming, right? A lot of startups in the real money gaming sector sort of faced, troubles. But if we talk about Dream 11, they sort of anticipated this, created a new, yeah, I mean, pivoted within a week to a overall new service and product, like into wealth management and all. And all of that happened, and I mean, they survived because they were ready with the execution. So I really feel that execution is what matters. Your ideas can be great. Ideas are really good. Ideas should be there. But if the execution doesn't happen, then I mean, the idea just remains an idea. There's nothing else to build on it.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Ma'am, would you like to add something to this one?
Yes, I mean, Prateek has put it very correctly. And just to add to it, because at FaveC, honestly, we talk to so many founders every day. And one thing that really sets apart the ones who get selected are how big is the problem. Like, founders really need to see how big is the problem that they are trying to solve, right? You really have to amplify what you are solving and what your solution is. And other than that, how you have timed it, because investors would only put in money if your timing is right in solving that problem. And obviously, how you're differentiating your product from whatever solutions exist in the industry. So you really have to focus on not just the idea, as Prateek said, execution, and defining the timing and amplifying the problem of how big the problem is, right? So that the investors are really drawn in. So yes, those would be my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Sure.
to add on to it,
Mm.
I mean, it's a given, right? If you are in the top 1% of anything that you do, right, you are bound to be successful. And top 1% in your office, top 1% in the industry, top 1% in your, I mean, you can take any industry, any metric. If you are in the top 1%, you will be successful. And top 1% only happens if you are executing it flawlessly.
Okay. Uh, there is one follow-up question on this. I think I have never got an answer to this one, or never heard anybody talking about it. So, till when do you think you should execute on an idea? When should you consider giving up, pivoting, or till when do you think that you should try on, getting better and reaching that top 1% position? How do you know?
I think your market is your biggest mirror that you can get. What the market tells you about whatever you're selling, what your product is, what your service is. It's a very clear feedback that you get immediately of when you go out in the market, whether people are interested or whether people are not interested, right? I mean, if I have to say, sort of quote a few examples, and again, really successful examples, right? When for example, how do you know a product is going to be successful? By the amount of time, like the frequency with which people use it. So when sort of Apple launched the iPhone, right, and it was a very small launch at that time, not, and there were no touch screens phones apart from, say, an HTC or a few other niche brands that were doing touch screen phones. But the differentiator of how of how people thought that iPhone could be a successful product was that the people who had the iPhone, they were obsessed with it. Like, they would not leave the phone at all. They used to be constantly on it. And that sort of a thing automatically gives you feedback that, okay, this is a great product, this is a great service. So I really feel that if you're getting good feedback from the market, you've I mean, there is a product market fit that you've sort of found, then everything else comes into place: pricing, timing, all of those things. But finding the real product market fit is very important. If you're not able to find that product market fit itself, so then it becomes difficult. Even if, say, for example, if you've created the minimum viable product and nobody is using it, then, I mean, or nobody's interested in it, or if you're not able to sort of create excitement around it, so then I really think that you need to pivot into something which has more excitement, or which excites investors, or excites the market in general, and then sort of take it forward from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yes. And just to add to what Prateek said, even when a founder is going out, and I think when I say this, I am talking from my own experience. So when I was building this decentralized compute product, it did not it if it strikes at just one, the target audience and everything, that's very rare. Of course, you have to go out in the market, talk to so many people, someone who is a target, not a target, and to understand what do they actually want. I think if you just focus on that feedback, and when you, Ridhima said pivot actually comes from there. If you have tried everything, if you're hearing to the feedback correctly, right, then you would know where to pivot, what people are ready to pay for. You
Hmm.
really have to focus on that fact. If you have find out if people are ready to pay 20,000 or 20 lakhs for this product or service, then you have got the product. So that is something that I think more founders need to really focus on.
And majorly, it is just all about understanding the feedback, I feel, because if you're not able to understand the feedback, then you're not able to get the pulse of the market, like what do they exactly want. So then it's, selling apples when people want oranges is a bad idea. I mean, nobody's going to buy apples then, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. On this, my next question would be, हमने investors की बात की, right? So suppose your market is responding. Okay, well, you are lacking some funds or you want to scale, then you go for, a fundraise. So up fundraise में, what are these investors actually looking for? Because we see that in the same industry, similar products are raising funds and you are struggling. Why does that happen? Like, what is that one differentiation that you see between your startup and theirs? Do they have more connects or they are better at pitch? Or what is that factor?
So there is no one factor, I feel. I mean, as a founder, you have to हर चीज में ना मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. So when you're out for going out for investments also, you have to do that mehnat, and that mehnat is not, I mean, the effort is not just about reaching 1,000 people. Reaching 10 people, but with dedicated research. You have to understand, if you're reaching out to VCs, you have to understand at what stage your startup is. If your startup is a pre-seed or a seed fund startup that you're looking for the seed fund, you have to look at the investment thesis of the VC fund, or the home office, or the family office, or the institutional investor, that do they even fund a pre-seed or a seed series startup, right? So that then does your startup fall into the industry in which they are interested. So there are multiple factors that you have to sort of research, and then get into reaching out to these folks. Just spray and praise is what a lot of people do. They just, I'll do 1,000 reach outs, something might turn out. Why are you doing that? Why are you putting it, I mean, in other words, I would call it like gadha mazdoori, right? Why would you do that? Research who do you want to partner with, because what really helps is what conviction do you have in yourself that this particular investor is somebody who will help me scale up my startup. And it's not just about money, right? Once money comes in, you need connections, you need people opening doors for you, you need industry wide networks. There are 100 other things that you need to actually grow the startup. If money was just a problem, I mean, a lot of startups would have been, say, unicorns by now. But uh, I mean, again, to answer you, there is no one particular factor. There are multiple factors. Please understand who do you want on your cap table. Please understand who can drive your equity, right? And equity should always be drivable. It is, agar somebody is on your cap table and they are not adding on to the value that that they should be bringing on, then why are you adding them to your cap table, right? So that's, I think this is something that I thoroughly believe in, that investor for the sake of getting money does not make sense at all. The entry point for the investor is money, yes, but that should never be the end point, right? Money should never be the end point. It should just be the start. You should actually, that investor should help you sort of scale up from the point that they get onto the table, open up multiple doors. So even if, say, that they're putting, say, 1 crore, 2 crores, their actual value that they should be adding should be in multiples of, in tens of multiples of the value that they're putting in via money, because what you're giving them is a part of your company, and if it's growing, they are also growing, right? So I really feel that it, it has to be a very, very well thought out process. You can't just go up around and just ask everybody कि यार पैसा डाल दो करके ऐसे.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like even when you are reaching out to your target investors, right? A lot of people and a lot of founders hesitate. And this is very common with, unfortunately, common with female founders. So I would suggest don't be hesitant. If you are building something good, have that guts to directly go and slide into the DMs of your target investor and get him excited about what you are building. And obviously, you have to be very careful about what narrative, how you are pitching, a lot of those things. So you have to work on that. And that is one of the things that we also help the founders with perfecting their narrative. When you're talking to investors, right? A lot of, be it valuation talks, the dilution talks, a lot of these talks, how to handle them better. So
Hmm.
it has a lot of things when you go to an investor. So it cannot be just one like a checklist thing, but a lot prep goes into it.
Right. That's what FAFSI also helps in its program, right? In the 3 months, prepares the founders mentally and business wise also.
Yes, we help all the founders be fundraise ready and help them with fundraise. So both the aspect we cover, along with the show Kalke Karodpati, where they get to appear, and it is on Geo Hotstar. So obviously they get to appear, pitch about their product. So it's a great opportunity for the founders to become a household name, to reach 200 300 million views, to make your brand known all over India, right? Not just India, even outside India. So that is something that
Hmm.
we really are helping founders with.
Yeah. Right. Correct. Even I think right now हम investor relations की बात कर रहे हैं, right? And investors को reach करने की बात कर रहे हैं. I think very less of us present here really know or have an insight कि investor relations बनाते कैसे हैं, या what do you mean by investor relations? What should an ideal investor relation be? So उस पे थोड़ा सा आप लाइट शो कीजिए.
See, investor relation, I mean, it's a partnership. It's a pure partnership, and it's a symbiotic partnership in general. Ki you are benefiting out of them, they are benefiting out of you, right? So you should treat it as any other partnership that you would want. Be upfront, be very, very transparent in your dealings. I think a lot of times, startups don't have that, or even I mean, by startups, I mean founders don't have a clarity on a certain thing, and then they end up hiding it from the, say, the investor, or say the investing partner. Why do that? Rather, I think you should be transparent about it. They might be able to help you out of a certain situation, whatever it that be, right? So investor relation is not just about it's one and done, that money is come in now, thank you, we'll see you later on. It has to be a constant, there should be nurture sort of events, or then there should be pointers where you're reaching out to them, asking for their advice, if they can help you out anywhere. uh, it is more about having an open dialogue with them. I think that is more all investor relation is. And again, this is primarily I'm talking about relations point of view, right? Partnership point of view. Getting them on board is a separate thing altogether. But once you have gotten them on board, you have to be constantly in touch with them, because this is the same investor who will help you get more investors later on if you need, right? If you're going for the next round, if you're trying to scale up, even if they might not put money themselves, but they will open up doors for other investors, because if somebody's investing in your startup, I'm pretty sure they are in a community that where they know other, investors who put money into startups. So it is, and the thing is that if you are not, having a conversation with them very frequently, they will just not promote you at all. I mean, they will be like, I'm not getting anything out of this startup, or not getting anything from out of the founder. Then why should I, think about them? It will be a very, very one-sided relationship. So I think founders should sort of leverage from that relationship, and build onto that relationship, because that essentially helps them create a network of investors for themselves.
तो मतलब वो एक रिलेशनशिप आपको काफ़ी फर्दर
Correct.
रिलेशनशिप्स तक
It's a
लेकर जा सकता है।
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a web, right? I mean, that investor is just one node of that web. It just helps you access that overall web altogether once you have a
हुँ,
good relationship. If that nexus is strong between you and that investor, other networks are going to be strong. I mean, if that network itself is weak, so then there is no foundation for that investor to sort of, give you I mean, or for that investor to vouch for you that, okay, this is a great startup. Why don't you look at it? I mean, to other investors at least.
हुँ। राइट, 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 ओके। सो मतलब आपको इन्वेस्टर रिलेशंस इवन बिफोर योर फंड रेज़िंग या फिर व्हेन यू आर नॉट जस्ट गोइंग फॉर मनी उससे पहले भी आप बनाना शुरू कर सकते हैं।
Absolutely. I mean, this is, it is, first of all, you have to create a community for yourself, a community of people who are your champions, right? Even if they don't say, for example, support you from a money perspective, they will be supporting you from, other aspects. So these are your
हुँ,
champions, and if you are not able to, curate that community, so then there is not enough word of mouth going around, in the industry for your startup. So it is very
हुँ,
important to have that nexus, or to have that, connection, to sort of, open up doors, which helps you get those investors onboarded. And then the rest of the
हुँ।
journey follows.
ओके, ओके। Also ma'am, coming back to the FAFC program that we just mentioned, so
Yeah.
like आप ये जो पूरा एफर्ट डालते हैं स्टार्टअप्स में, उन्हें प्रिपेयर करते हैं एंड उनको इन्वेस्टर्स तक लेकर जाते हैं, टीवी शो पे लेके जाते हैं, उसके लिए आप उनसे डेफिनेटली कुछ फीस वगैरह लेते होंगे। तो इफ वी कुड आल्सो शेयर समथिंग अबाउट दैट जस्ट फॉर द क्लैरिटी जो भी लोग यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है।
Sure. So we do not charge any fee. Faves
ओके।
1 to 10 accelerator, we do not charge any fee for you to uh, go through the selection process and all these things. We are very strict about the selection process. You'll see even our investors get involved in finalizing the startup for the cohort. What we do is like standard, we work on 1 to 3% equity. It's a equity linked program. Yes.
वाओ, दैट्स ग्रेट। So you believe in the founders you are taking in the program, right? मतलब
Correct.
आप फुल उन पे इक्विटी के साथ आप जुड़ के काम करते हैं उनके साथ।
Exactly. And we look for a long-term association. It's not just, just show and these things and then we are separated. Equity, whenever equity comes into the picture, I think everyone knows that we want to be with you for a longer term. We want to bet
Hmm.
on you for the future, and that's why the equity is there.
Amazing, amazing. So I think this might excite a lot of us who are there and who are looking for funds. So moving on, I think अभी मेरे questions बहुत ज़्यादा हो गए, तो people are waiting in the Q&A and A and they are waiting to ask you directly. So let's just open the to like way for them to communicate with you. All of you जिनको भी questions पूछने हैं directly, you can just raise your hand. One by one, we'll unmute you and you can ask your question to ma'am and Sachin. So I think Rishika, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
So my question is, what mistakes should young founders prevent while deploying their startup with all legalities? like company registration, trademark, and all those things?
I think Usha, you can take this question better rather than me because
Yeah. So if you are if you're doing something which is related to tech, which is not there in the market, the first foremost thing is getting the patent done. If you go for funding, the first thing people would ask for, have you got the patents done? Have you got the certifications done? So these are the basic things that you have to do for your product, and of course to safeguard what you have, the innovation that you have already done, right? Other than that, with registration, yes, if you're looking for funding from investors, it has to be a private limited firm. So that is another thing. Other than that, with fundraising comes a lot of compliances. Um, so because when we are founders, we are just starting off, and obviously we are focusing on the product and building the whole, be it sales, marketing, building the whole product, right? So I honestly, even I would not suggest going into the due diligence depth of it. What I also did was I became a part of an accelerator where these people are already an expert at due diligence. They have the legal teams. They can suggest you obviously the right ways to go about it, what documents, because it's literally hundred of documents that you need, the right place, the drive, the data room. So it takes a lot of time to prep, due diligence wise and paper wise. So getting an expert at that is the best thing. Otherwise, the basic things like patents, getting certifications done, registrations done, these are the things that you can just do right away. I hope
I
that
also,
answers.
And
I
if we
also
are
think
under 13 or like under 18 years old?
Good question. So, I would suggest, so there are right now communities which specifically have teenagers, and I know how brilliant minds are there at this age who are building great products. Becoming a part of this community and how they are navigating the ways, because honestly right now, FAVC we are not working with anyone under 18, but yes, I can suggest you few communities which has people like you who are building great products at that age and how they are navigating this.
So,
Okay, thank you.
yes. So I think we can take the next question from Mr. Pradeep. Pradeep ji, you can go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Um, I think by that time we take up a question from our Q&A. We have one question from Aryan. At which stage I should raise funds for a hyper-local food sharing and food swapping platform? Or first, I should focus on grants, hackathons, and CSRs. Please clear me on this.
I think grants, hackathons, and CSR is becoming like a good sounding board or a good platform to test your idea and to understand if how many takers are there for your idea for your startup, right? If you are getting a very positive response on this, then depending on whatever stage you are, you can start your fundraise. I mean, today people look for a pre-seed round, look for a seed round. Idea stage startups get funded. So it all depends on how good your first of all idea is. Second is how well are you executing, and what is your background to that industry that you're trying to get open up a start up a company in. If all of these things are relevant, if you're from a relevant background with a relevant experience and with a really good product and getting a really good feedback from the market, you can start at whatever stage you want to start. Does not have to be stage dependent that that you are able that you are looking for a fundraise. So hackathon, CSRs, all of these are really good testing models where you can test yourself, you can pressure test yourself, you get experience of answering questions, you get experience of pitching to people, you get experience of what kind of questions that might be asked in by say investors and all. It just helps you build up the confidence to go out and ask for funds.
Yeah, yes. And sir, my एक और था मेरा सवाल कि लाइक इंक्यूबेशन के लिए इंडिया में लाइक हमको लाइक टीपीआईआईटी होना चाहिए रजिस्टर्ड या नहीं होना चाहिए, प्राइवेट लिमिटेड टीपीआईआईटी फॉर द इंक्यूबेशन पर्पस?
This, Usha, I think I'll ask you
Have
to take
to
in.
be a private limited firm if you are looking for investments.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Oh, so I think you can just share in the chat box if you want to answer that question. We can move to Abhishek. Abhishek, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
So my
Yeah.
question, we are running a cybersecurity and AI company. It's a startup. So we created our first AI model, which is working, and within a week, we are publishing it in the market for customers. Now, we met with multiple investors. They show their interest. Everything is good. But after a few conversation, they are wait, there are so many competitors in the market. Even we showed that the competitors that is in the market is not going to be in the proper race. Let's say if you talk about Google or Microsoft, whatever the solution they provided, it's not even working. So we gave in all kind of proofs and everything. Now they are a little bit confused that whether our startup will work or not. The amount which we are asking is worth it or not. This is the first question, like how to tackle this type of questions. And the second question is we recently got selected for IMC 2025, where we are going to be a part of that. Now, there will be multiple investors or you can say companies, those who can collaborate. So how to convey them and how to represent our idea
Right.
for a response and positive response. Yeah.
Pratik, you want to take it
Yeah,
or?
absolutely. So I think what really matters here is that I understand that you've been facing rejections or facing not getting a positive response from investors. It is a difficult space. There is no doubt it is difficult to raise funds. Even say for example, even if I am directly not investing, I must be getting like around 20-25 DMs every day that people would want to evaluate startup, that they would want me to evaluate their startups. But it is a lot has to do with timing as well. So what you can actually look at is, I think, what is the kind of valuation. I mean, if you're asking for the right valuation as per your revenue, or as per your projections, if you're using the right multiple that is there in the industry, everybody, anybody who wants to sort of invest is looking to get an upside, right? I mean, they're not investing it because it's a charity. So if they're looking for an upside, you have to leave enough room on the cap table, or enough room in the valuation for your startup to grow further, and then they are also able to take a good multiple out of the investment that they are doing in your startup. So if you're able to give all of that to the investor, I think automatically interest sort of builds up. Uh, for example, I mean, if I somebody was asking me, they wanted to say buy unlisted shares of Lenskart. The current price somebody is giving out is somewhere around 600, or 590 was the list price. Uh, Whereas what if you go into the Lenskart valuation, the correct price point comes to around 400, 450. So if Lenskart tomorrow is going to list at 400, 450, why would anybody buy it at 600? For a 400, 450 listing, they are looking to buy it at a 300, so that when it lists at a 400, 450, they have gotten a good 5x, or I mean a 2x or a 3x sort of a multiple on it. So it really depends on what kind of deal are you also bringing onto the table for the investor. So I mean, currently, I mean, yes, according to you, there will be a lot of positives for the startups, but then somebody who's looking at it from an investor lens point of view, they might be looking at, I mean, they might be finding some problems, or some this, which again, I can be wrong here, but they might not be able to communicate to you properly. So I mean, there are multiple factors, but I'm just giving you a very general idea of what all can be the problem and how to sort of create investor interest at least. That if you are leaving sort of enough room on the cap table to sort of help the investor with an upside as soon as they sort of put an investment. So then they will be interested. They would want to sort of evaluate it seriously and then go forward.
Got it, got it, got it. Thank you for the answer, प्रतीक. आई थिंक एक बहुत बड़ी मिसकंसेप्शन या फिर एक डाउट रहता है फाउंडर्स के दिमाग में जब वो रेस करने जाते हैं, जो फर्स्ट राउंड उनका रेस करने जाते हैं, मोस्टली दोज फाउंडर्स, कि अगर हम कम डिमांड करेंगे, अगर हमारा अमाउंट ऑफ रेस कम होगा, देन इट विल बी इजियर टू रेस इट. सो इज दैट ट्रू और इज दैट मिथ?
No, absolutely. The amount doesn't really matter. I mean, again, it matters, but depending on who you're going to, right? If you're going to a retail investor and asking for, say, 50 lakhs, they're not going to give you 50 lakhs. But if you go to a retail investor and ask for 5 lakh, 10 lakhs, they will give it to you. You have to reach out to the right person. And I mean, for example, it it is fine. I mean, the check size that you're looking for is going to be all right. But then what again are you giving enough equity for that investor to sort of take you seriously, right? Everybody um, everybody is going to perform if they have a skin in the game, right? If they don't have a skin in the game, then why is anybody doing anything? Everybody takes steps to improve when they know that they are going to get benefited out of it. It is a again very clear relationship. If you are benefiting, they will work. If you're not benefiting, they will not work. So I feel it doesn't matter what kind of money you're raising. It what matters is what you're giving in return. If you're giving a good chunk in return, if you're giving enough potential upside, they will take it. People will take it. There will always be a buyer. There are enough and people out there who do as big as say 8 crores as a check says for angel rounds as well. You just have to show that value that you are worth 8 crores. I mean, or you are worth that investment, and that 8 crores will turn to 80 crores, 800 crores, whatever it is.
Okay, ma'am, do you want to add anything on this one?
No, I think Pratik has said it very right.
Okay, okay. Lavina, you can ask your question quickly. Yes.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Radhima, and thank you for this wonderful session that you all are having. Of course, this is very new to me, and I don't know if I'm asking the right question. Is this the right platform to ask this question? So, do please bear with me. I have a company that I've been working for. Now, this is about artisanal development. So, we are working with the second largest workforce in India, which are the artisan community, which are doing handmade craft work. Now, this is to position India from a climate perspective. So now you see, I have developed this organization, I have worked with artisan, I have bought all these products from them directly, ensuring that there is no labor abuse and things like that. But I have not been able to give momentum to this to the investors. The investors want to see numbers. They're not able to see the social impact. I've not been able to put forth, or I've not found the right investors, I should say, to be able to show that this is about social impact first than creating numbers. So I have not been able to find an investor, and somewhere I feel at a loss ki how will I tell an investor, don't ask me for numbers, please look at the impact, please look at how this is going to help India at the bottom end of the pyramid, where we need to create employment. And in turn, the profit or the good will happen for the climate and for people who are using handmade products, so it's so slow fashion and things like that. Everyone's asking for numbers, everyone's asking for sales, and we haven't gone to market yet, because I don't have that kind of funds yet to market so hard. But I have everything in place, and I just don't know how to reach to an investor. Thank you.
Great question, Lavina. I think this is a problem that a lot of us face, when we are going out that investors are looking for numbers, and rightfully so. I mean, why are they else they are putting their money at risk, right? Why are they betting on you? For a, I mean, for a startup that you might be running, which is especially in, in the social change or a climate impact sort of a thing, results or numbers don't usually come that fast. You can show impact, but it will not really result into a profitable business immediately, maybe. What I feel is that what you need to do is partner up with the right kind of an angel, partner up with the right kind of fund, or partner up with the right kind of institutional investor. There are enough institutional investors out there which are, socially focused, which are looking for a social impact. We have a lot of investors in our angel network itself who, want to invest into startups which do good for the social, do good as a social change sort of a thing. So I think your approach, or your investor reach out has to be very, very selective. It has to be, sort of a very microscopic point of view, that anybody who's only interested in social change and social impact and climate change, you need to reach out to only them. Again, you can't do a spray and pray sort of a approach, that I'll reach out to, 1,000 people, at least one will be interested. Because again, such parties, by parties I mean people who are interested in investing into such a industry, they are there, but they will be very less. So even if you say reaching out to 1,000 people, there's a big chance that these 1,000 people, not even a single one of them will be interested in your startup. So you need to really research hard about who's investing, what kind of check sizes do they invest, what kind of verticals do they support in the social impact, social change, climate change, all of those verticals. You also need to figure out where does your startup stack up against the startups that they have invested in already. So all of this research really needs to go in before you sort of approach them. And
I understand.
all of this, I think, comes down to the fact that if you, it is as good as matchmaking. What you're doing is getting into a relationship with the investor, right? So it has to be a
Right.
perfect matchmaking situation where all of the things align, and then that investment comes in. It is a tough journey, you are doing work in a very, very tough sector, very, very tough industry as it is, in a overall economy which is poised to sort of look at profits, poised to sort of look at numbers. You are trying to be that differentiator where you're looking for impact and looking for change. It's a great job, but then unfortunately, yes, like 99.9% of the investors are going to be looking to make an upside on their money. So I think your approach needs to be really, really focused.
Thank you, Pratik. This is really, helped me a lot, whatever you've said, because then it helps to refocus the direction in which things need to go. So you have added value to that. So thank you for reinforcing something for me. Thanks a ton.
And
Thanks
just
a
to
lot.
add to that, Lavina, I mean, if you're obviously, if you're pre-revenue right now, and I would suggest keep that passion on for what you're doing for overall, climate change and sustainability. There are specific investors. We can connect on LinkedIn. I'm connected to a community which is also can help you. They are specifically focusing on women-led social impact startup. So happy to pass on a connection.
Usha, thank you so much. This is so inspiring. Thank you so much. Thanks a ton. Thank you. I will connect with you on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Let's do that.
I look forward.
Yep.
That was great. I think one very important question that we must not miss is about the frauds and scams. Okay. So जब founders fundraise करने जा रहे होते हैं, then sometimes it becomes very difficult for them and long and tiring. So they might, give in to some deals or some things or some wrong investors at the time when they need the money the most. So, what is your experience and how to navigate this?
Um, Here, I think I've not had such an experience till now. But I think for somebody who's looking at investing, doing their own due diligence is also very important. You can't just because somebody's offering money does not mean that you take it up. You really need to understand why is somebody giving the money. You have to read the fine print of what if they're making you sign something, what are they exactly asking out of you, right? I mean, for example, if somebody let's take our accelerator for example, right? If we are asking for equity, there are very clear deliverables that what are we going to give you out of the equity that we are asking for, and that these deliverables sort of more than make up for what we are asking. First of all, there is no money that is charged, but obviously when it can't be this is not a not for profit sort of a thing, so there has to be some consideration involved. But understanding what you're getting into is very important. And I think just basic due diligence, you get 90% of your details. You just Google somebody, you'll get there. Even if they are part of any for example, any LLPs, any previous law cases and all of that sort of comes up once you Google somebody's name and name and whatever details so that basic due diligence you need to do before getting into any kind of a contract or any kind of a relationship with any, say, investor, or for example investment banking professional or whatever it is.
Okay, okay. So, just a follow-up question on this. आपने बोला कि you have not heard of any fraud or scam in the fundraise space. So, I would be more specific with my question. So, are there any hidden clauses or anything that, जब एक process में हम चले जाते हैं fundraise की, and then बाद में इन्वेस्टर्स वो क्लॉजेस फाइन प्रिंट में इंट्रोड्यूस कर देते हैं, जो कि फाउंडर्स को अवेयर होना चाहिए, जिससे उनके काफी सारे राइट्स या फिर बाद में जाके होने वाली चीजें अफेक्ट हो सकती हैं आफ्टर द फंड रेज।
नहीं, so मतलब contract is a contract. I mean, if it's there in the contract, you can always challenge it मतलब before signing it. So please read the contract very carefully. Please understand. I mean, there will always be clauses which are not favorable to you. So a lot of times, okay, let's start from there. That a lot of people who are starting out think that ये contract आ गया तो this is standard, this can't be changed. I either accept it or I deny it. That's not the case. You can go and say, okay, this clause is not acceptable to me. Can we change this, right? So this is I mean, these are small things that maybe if somebody does not know, they should sort of contest it, that I need this term to be more favorable towards me. I need, whatever clauses that are there which are not favorable to me. And again, please get it vetted by a proper legal advisor. Don't think that you know everything about what, even if you're well versed with contracts and all, it's always good to get a good legal opinion when you're sort of signing anything. So, and please contest whatever you don't want to sign. I mean, it is not no contract is ever a standard contract. You can get things changed and then, sort of go for it. If you're not doing that much also, I mean, if you're not putting in the effort of reading the contract properly, so then I think you need to sort of improve your, outlook towards how you are approaching, any works or in that sort of a way.
Okay, okay. I think that was really helpful. And just one last question from my side, and then we have a question from our audience. So, ऐसी कुछ इंस्पायरिंग स्टोरी या फिर पर्सनल जो आपने अपने एक्सीलरेटर के प्रोग्राम में देखी हो, or of any startup जो काफी inspiring हो, and earlier they were not able to fundraise or they were facing some issues, and उसके बाद what did they improve जिससे उनका results and investor relations एकदम से बदल गए हों या एकदम से उनके पास interest आने लगा हो, ऐसा कुछ आपने देखा हो?
Um, so I can, I mean, from our accelerator specifically in the past, right? There was a startup, Kisan se Kitchen Tak, jinko we were able to raise a $1.3 million check. They came in at I think they wanted a 85 crore ka valuation. The lead investor sort of asked for a 65 crore, but they accepted that it was a fair valuation. That there was I mean, again, it was a part equity, part debt sort of a deal, right? These guys, when they started in the accelerator, they were somewhere around, I think, doing, I mean, overall revenue that they did for last year was around 13 crores. So this was like less than less than 1 crore sort. I mean, just about 1 crore per month sort of a thing. Today, I mean, after 3 months of, I mean, the accelerator, after 3 months of the accelerator coming on the TV show that, is owned by Visey now, then once the money sort of hit their banks, they've sort of scaled up to some other level altogether. Today, they are doing almost 3 crores per month. They are looking at closing this year at a I think at a 55 crores sort of a revenue. They've already done with, say, last year if they did 13 crores, they've already touched 13 crores from April till now. So these are one of the like the few of the positive effects that that the startup has. And obviously all of this, I can't give all of the credit to 1 to 10 as an accelerator, right? The startup, the founders were very strong. They came from relevant backgrounds. I mean, there was a good fit, or there was a good synergy between both the founders. One was a very senior gentleman, very industry veteran sort of a thing. One is a very young professional who got into the startup as a co-founder. Very, I mean, they knew what they were getting into. They knew the market. They knew the overall numbers really well. So a lot of things went well for them, and they were able to sort of scale up to that. Today, I think they're looking at another bridge round at 165 crore valuation, which is like at almost a 3x sort of a multiple in less than, say, what, 6 months, 7 months sort of a timeline. So I mean, this is again, it's an outlier, but it's a success story. I mean, if you know your numbers, if you know what you're doing, if you're doing really well, you obviously scale up really fast with the right kind of connections, right kind of money coming in. And basically, I mean, it's a growth story, right? All You have to tick off all the boxes to achieve that kind of a success. So that's one. If I have to talk about another startup, I think Unisolar, I mean, is a startup in the it's in the EPC sort of a this where it basically installs solar panels, both residential as well as your commercial projects that they do. They've installed projects for Amazon, Bolland Industries, multiple large organizations. Last year they did around 3.5 crores as a revenue. To this year, the revenue on books already is at a 20 crores, right? Again, with what, 4 5 months of being in the accelerator, understanding, helping them out, helping them raise funds. We ended up raising what, around 60-65 lakhs for them at max. But I mean, that was enough for them to get a working capital. They obviously have a debt from from SBI, a 2 crore credit line for them for against their working capital. But then with the right kind of fitment, you can achieve this kind of growth. So there are enough your success stories that we can talk about when somebody does the right things at the right time with the right intent. I think you just sort of grow.
Okay, sure. So I think there is one more thing. आपने debt का mention किया, right? So 5C is helping founders raise as well equity as well as debt. किस stage पे debt preferable रहता है? तब there is a negative connotation related to debt, especially early stage founders में कि अगर नहीं चला तो क्या होगा? Sort of a thing.
डेट का रिक्वायरमेंट उनको ज्यादा होता है जिनका वर्किंग कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा होती है, राइट? सो इफ यू नीड अ हाई वर्किंग कैपिटल टू गेट योर ऑर्डर्स आउट, so you need rolling money coming in. So every time giving out your equity does not make sense. Why are you diluting your your shareholding in the organization just because you need working capital? Working capital is just money that is you're requiring to create your product and then sell it out in the market. That money will come in. Maybe it will come in for 30 days later, 60 days later, depending on the credit terms that you are on with your sellers, with your buyers, all of that. But if you just need money to sort of sustain operations, you go for debt. You don't need to go for equity. Debt is, I mean, equity should essentially only be taken if you're really looking to scale up, right? If you're looking to sustain operations you've already established operations, but then you're sort of falling short of cash to sustain those operations, then you look at debt. So there are very different requirements, I mean, different reasons that why would you go for each of them. And accordingly you should decide that what is more important to you. I feel equity should be protected as much as possible, and because I mean, it is your skin in the game. Why will you dilute your own skin in the game if just to sort of keep sustaining? You would want to hold on to that equity, and then look at debt as a tool to sustain operations.
Understood. Ma'am, मेरा question अब आपसे होगा, and this is like the audience question. He Ankur wanted to say कि 5 महीने से he's raising funds, but he's not got any success. So, Ankur, if you would like to unmute and just quickly ask your question, because we are almost we have run past our time. It's 7, but we can just take your question. So, if you would like to say it up.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
audible.
Yes, yes, yes.
So my name is Ankur. Basically, this is my second startup. Okay. And talking about my second startup is like कि मैंने पास में मतलब इस प्रोजेक्ट पे मैं अराउंड 7 मंथ से काम कर रहा हूँ एंड इसको मैंने 2-3 महीने डेवलप किया था एंड आई हैव अ गुड टीम लाइक आई हैव IT Delhi people and also I am guys. ठीक है. And 2 of them are also experienced in their fields. But the problem I am facing, I am trying to open my startup in automobile sector as well as finance sector. Basically, माई स्टार्टअप इज व्हाट इज ट्राइंग टू डू इसकी वो ना जितने भी सेकंड हैंड व्हीकल्स हैं, इट डजंट मैटर कि वो कार बाइक्स ट्रक कुछ भी हो, वो सबको एक स्पेक्ट्रम में ला रहा है कि उस हम सारे व्हीकल्स के रेस में डील करना चाह रहे हैं. ठीक है. द प्रॉब्लम दैट वी आर फेसिंग राइट नाउ इज ड्यू टू स्पिनी एंड कार्स 24. एक्चुअली क्या हो रहा है कि अभी स्पिनी को भी कहीं से फंडिंग नहीं उठ रहा है एंड कार्स देखो भी जो है, कार्स देखो भी शिफ्ट हो रहा है, पिवट कर रहा है अपना पूरा का पूरा. सो राइट नाउ व्हाट आई एम फेसिंग इज कि इन्वेस्टर आर स्केयर्ड कि भाई हम इन्वेस्ट करने करें, इतने बड़े बड़े स्टार्टअप्स नहीं प्रॉफिटेबल कर पा रहे. एंड स्पिनी हैज ट्राइड वंस कि वो आईपीओ लाए, बट वो भी अपना आईपीओ नहीं ला पाया उतने टाइम में. तो जो इन्वेस्टर है ना, वो दे आर नॉट विलिंग टू इन्वेस्ट, जबकि हमारा मॉडल उनसे थोड़ा डिफरेंट है. तो मेरे को थोड़ी उसमें हेल्प चाहिए थी. हाउ कैन आई कन्विंस द इन्वेस्टर कि भाई यस दिस मॉडल कैन वर्क एंड इट इज गुड. क्योंकि हमने जो पेन पॉइंट्स है उसके लिए हमने प्रॉपर इंटरव्यूज लिए हैं, वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग्स करी है, जितनी वेलोसिटी कंपनी की उन्होंने सबने सब किया है, बट इन्वेस्टर नॉट लाइक कन्विंस्ड. तो ये, और हमने 2-3 VCs को पिच भी किया है हम लोग, मतलब टर्म्स मतलब सॉफ्ट कमिटमेंट से पहुंचे हैं, बट एंड में आके वो ना हो गया था.
I think Ankur, then see, if you have reached that point, then investor तो सही target कर रहे हो. That is not wrong, but it has to do a lot with the sentiment in the market. जैसे ब्लू स्मार्ट के बाद a lot of investors are taking back seat थोड़ा सा, अगर same field में अगर कोई आ रहा है तो, right. But take this time to obviously build ahead, to show more data, to build upon the revenue, to get more customers on whatever right now you can do to get them excited. Obviously be in these connection. एक बार ऐसा नहीं होता कि एक इन्वेस्टर ने मना कर दिया ना तो it is out of the picture. It's never like that. You have to keep like treat them as humans. So एक human के साथ भी you have to keep doing that मेहनत of sending them updates, progress. This is just to get them excited. This is what has happened. We got this as new customers, like things like that. And this will happen with a lot of investors. And maybe once the sentiments are better, you'll break through.
Actually, the problem here is that we are very capital incentive startup. Okay, so in our scenario, we have to maintain an inventory. Okay, and for that we only need capital. ठीक है. तो हमारे क्या पेन पॉइंट्स है दैट वी डू, उसके अराउंड हमने अपने पूरे का पूरा इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट कर रखा है एंड दैट इकोसिस्टम इज आवर मोट. ठीक है. द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज कि जो हमारा इन्वेंट्री है उसको हम आउटसोर्स नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि वही हमारा वो है ट्रस्ट विदनेस पॉइंट है कि इस पे ही हमारी जो ऑडियंस है उसको बाय करेगी. तो वी ट्राई टू डू दैट कि हम इन्वेंट्री भी आउटसोर्स करें. द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज कि जो इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर है ना, वो बहुत क्लेवर है, वो अपनी ना सारी चीजें खुल के नहीं बताएगा अपनी इन्वेंट्री के बारे में. तो वहां पे ना ये जो स्टार्टअप को ना बैकलैश बहुत मिल जाता है कि यार आपकी खुद की इन्वेंट्री नहीं है एंड देन यू, तो दैट्स वेयर वी स्टक ना. तो इधर जो कस्टमर है वो राजी हो रहा है क्योंकि भाई हमारी इन्वेंट्री है नहीं, सो व्हाई शुड आई ट्रस्ट यू. एंड उधर इन्वेस्टर से पैसा नहीं आ रहा कि हम इसको केपेक्स लगा के इन्वेंट्री बाय करके हम आगे इसको सेल करें. तो बेसिकली यही चल रहा है कि हमारा सिस्टम क्या होता है कि हम इन्वेंट्री बाय करते हैं. ठीक है. वी डू ऑल द नेसेसरी चेक पॉइंट चेक्स होते हैं, सारे के सारे रिपेयर्स होते हैं, फिर हम उसको इन हाउस फाइनेंस रिपेयरिंग सब कुछ करके देते हैं, इंश्योरेंस भी देते हैं. प्रॉब्लम इसकी ये एक थोड़ा कैपिटल इंटेंसिव बिजनेस है एंड दैट फॉर वी नीड फंड्स. एंड हम जितने भी अभी तक गए हैं, लेट्स से हमने कभी अभी तक हमने 10 अपने लेट्स से हमने ट्रक सेल किए हैं, तो 10 में से ऐसा हुआ है कि 6 ट्रक्स वापस आए हैं, क्योंकि इन्वेंट्री हमारी नहीं थी, वो किसी और की थी। एंड जो इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर होता है ना, कभी भी खुल के नहीं बताया कि उन्होंने क्या रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, क्या ठीक है कि इस पे चालान है कि नहीं है। तो दैट्स द इशू वी आर फेसिंग, कि हम एक लूप होल फंस गए यहाँ पर, निकल ही नहीं पा
Yes,
रहे उससे।
I understand. It's very industry specific problems that you're facing. And honestly, me randomly suggesting you something would not, I would not do that to any founder until I have very clear suggestion for you. If you are already at revenue, are you doing any revenue right now, Ankur?
नो, राइट नाउ, एज ऑफ राइट नाउ हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, हम लोग बेसिकली जितने भी से वो बैठे हुए हैं, डीलर्स बैठे हुए हैं ना ट्रक्स के, उनको कनेक्ट करवा रहे हैं। हम भी कोई रेवेन्यू जनरेट नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो बेसिकली हमारा जो भी पैसा आता है, हम क्या करते हैं ना, उसको हम आगे, जैसे मान लो ट्रक ड्राइवर से रिपेयर नहीं करवाते हैं, तो हम थोड़ा वो पैसा पूरा वापस हम रिपेयरिंग में डाल देते हैं उनके, कि आप रिपेयर करके दो, बट आगे जो आप अपनी इन्वेंट्री दे रहे हो सही बेचो। तो वो हमारा ही पूरा आगे पैसा लग जाता है। तो ऐसा कुछ कंपनी में कुछ नहीं आ रहा अभी, ऐसा राइट नाउ।
That might be, I think, why investors are backing out a bit. Because right now, people want to see traction. People want to see, even if you have traction, people want to see money coming in. And as Prateek also mentioned, investors paisa isliye dalte so that they can obviously make an exit, right? So if you're looking for someone in pre-revenue, an investor who, obviously there are still investors who would support pre-revenue stages, but there are, I mean, you have to be very thorough with the search and research what kind of investors you have to target. But honestly, I mean, happy to connect to a mentor or someone from your industry. We do have a lot of mentors with us. Happy to connect someone who can give you the right guidance right now with specific problems that you're facing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Uncle. So with this, I think we'll wrap up today's session. And today's session was a very, very, I think, बहुत ही interactive और बहुत ही knowledgeable session था. Founders, I hope आप लोगों ने भी बहुत कुछ सीखा हो. This is not a goodbye. This is a beginning of your application. आई होप आपको फैबसी के 1 to 10 एक्सीलरेटर प्रोग्राम के बारे में पता चला होगा. मैं स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन करना चाहूंगी जो लोग लास्ट में जिन्होंने बाद में ज्वाइन किया. सो वाइजी इज एन इकोसिस्टम पार्टनर विद फैबसी फॉर देयर 1 to 10 accelerator program, which is a 3 months equity only program where Fabsi will basically prepare फंड रेज. एंड मैम आप इस पर और इलेबोरेट करिएगा कि क्या क्या फैबसी करता है एंड टेक यू टू द इन्वेस्टर्स. सो बेसिकली प्रिपेयर एंड हेल्प यू विद द फंड रेज. ऑल्सो दे हैव देयर ओन टीवी शो कल की करोड़पति, जिससे आपको काफी सारी विजिबिलिटी भी मिल सकती है वेरी पिच टू द इन्वेस्टर्स. सो मैम, इफ यू वुड लाइक टू एड अ फ्यू वर्ड्स ऑन हाउ फैबसी इज डूइंग दिस प्रोग्राम.
Yes. So, to tell you guys, we are a 10-year-old company. We are not new in this business. We are known for our investor ecosystems, and that's why we are trying to help companies, startups who are trying to raise right now, who are doing some revenue, some proven product GTM in place. And what we have for you is to appear, you will get to appear on a national TV show. It's called Kalke Karodpati. It'll be aired on Geo Hotstar. So you'll get a lot of visibility. And not just that, we are also focusing on the deep pocketed family offices that we have as panelist on the show. And that is one of the avenues on how you will be raising the capital. But other than that, we'll be connecting you with a lot of other institutional investors, angels, retail. We have more than 160 institutional investors with us, and the biggest network of angels, which is called First Check. I think a lot of people are already aware about that. And those are the kind of investors you'll be talking to. And not just that, for uh, founders like Ankur that I just spoke to. So we also have a lot of advisory and mentorships in place to help you with the right direction if you're scaling. And there are a lot of questions that usually we have as founders, right? What strategy to pick, how to scale profitably, how to reduce the marketing spend, how to do more partnerships. A lot of those doors would be open for you. So this funding it is not just money that comes in, it also comes in with a lot of guidance and opening a lot of door for distribution for your product. So that is what we have for you at FaveC.
Okay. So I've shared the link to apply also in the chat. You can just follow that link and learn more about the program. The deadline is approaching soon, so do not delay. Also, I would like to mention about Visey. So, Visey is a platform and a community where we connect startup founders from very early stage to even scaling up with the right resource providers and opportunities which you can connect with for your startup, be it legal, be it funding, marketing, mentorship, or tech. So, any requirement that your startup has when you are creating it. So, we help you discover the right opportunities, just like the 1 to 10 accelerator by FAFC. So, stay tuned with us and see you there in the 1 to 10 program.
Yes.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thanks a lot, Ridhima.
Thank you,
so
sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am, for your time. And thank you for joining in, everyone.
Yes,
Bye
all the
bye.
best to all the founders.
Yes.